Welcome to our next episode of the Global Women Enrichment podcast. We appreciate you joining us this evening, and tonight we have a special guest, Luly Carreras, known to many in the South Florida community and beyond as Luly. She is an amazing friend, and she is a published author. She's a professor. She's an entrepreneur of multiple businesses that she has launched, and she is a magnet for awesomeness. She brings together women entrepreneurs and really gives them the tools, the solutions, the encouragement, everything they need to really go out there and be empowered and do what they need to do to drive their businesses forward. So Luly, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here, and thank you for that beautiful intro.
It
was pretty awesome.
Yes.
I was like, are you talking about me?
Yes, I am. And you have, through what you do, you have so many different solutions you bring to women entrepreneurs, whether it's your Spark, Ignite, Boost, what I call Boost Plus, which is beyond Boost, and just the different events. I mean, one of the events this year in the midst of COVID, Luly was one of the first in this whole country to pull off still having an event and doing it at the drive-in.
Oh, wow.
So she had amazing speakers on stage, and she really is just all about giving back. She is a published author with a book called Balance is Keeping It PG BS. And she really goes out there and not just empowers women entrepreneurs, but entrepreneurs as a whole, because she's also a professor at Babson with Goldman Sachs. So I would love if you would share with our audience a bit about all the solutions that you bring to women entrepreneurs.
Yes. Thank you, Laura. So women are actually opening businesses at twice the rate of men, and a very small percentage of women business owners make over $100,000. Now, we can argue that some of that is because we aren't the best at maybe knowing our value, or negotiation might not be our strength. But I also argue that so many of us want to raise our children. We want to have healthy families. We want to be there for elderly parents or care for our community and contribute in different ways. So I also think that there are women like me that want to build a business around their lifestyle and around their family priorities. So what I've done is I've created a community of women that support one another so that we can have just that. We can create that business, whatever that looks like. And we can do it on the basis of deciding what is my priority in life and how can I do something that I love for the people that I love with the gifts that I've been blessed with.
And I think that she's a great example of this because if you look into her story, Luly had a very hugely successful marketing agency. Yeah. And she was working with amazing brands, but she wanted the lifestyle. She has 2 boys, and she wanted to be able to have that lifestyle where she could be home and be present for her children. So she basically made a shift and decided to move away from being full-time in her marketing agency and really focus on helping women entrepreneurs. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Spark?
Yeah, so Spark is actually a dream of mine when I first started Luly, and it's a women's empowerment event. And what I realized was there were already so many really beautiful events in our community, and I wanted to complement what was already out there. And I'm really happy that I've done that for 4 years. And like Laura said, 2020, I'm a Cuban, I'm a Capricorn, and I'm a girl. So if I want something, I'm gonna get it, very much like what Laura wants, Laura gets. What Luly wants, Luly gets too. And we made it happen, and we had this beautiful event at a drive-in. And again, just bringing women together. We have a bad rap for being catty and gossipy and all of this, but I really do believe that there is so much good in this world, and I want to bring that good together. There are women that might not be in the best environments, right? Might not have the support and the love that I've been blessed with for so many years in my life. So I want to bring that to them. And I want to remind them that they are valuable and that they have incredible gifts that they've been blessed with. And it is our duty and our responsibility, not our choice, to share those gifts with this world. And so Spark is a celebration of all of those things. While I work, most of my work is with women entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs as a whole, I really just bring the woman as a whole in this event. And so we do talk business and health and relationships and communication. But more than anything, it's about celebrating, because celebration is one of my core values.
Absolutely. And, in the spirit of celebrating, you also just finished wrapping up the latest edition of Ignite, where really it was about talking to women and letting them know that sales is okay, and how to embrace sales and how to embrace negotiation. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, one of my favorite topics. So you were talking about the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program. I have the incredible privilege to be able to work with business owners from all around our country in this beautiful program here in Miami and at Babson College in Boston, and really being able to help people shift the perspective and the definition of the word sales. And my best way to describe it is, if you have a cut on your arm and I have the Band-Aid, how dare I not share that Band-Aid with you? Would you ever see somebody bleeding and not share that Band-Aid with them? Of course you would. So what if we started to see selling as actually serving? I have a solution for your problem, and that's really what sales is. We just get to flip the definition of what that looks like. And again, especially with women and women business owners, this tends to be a really big topic. So I was really happy that actually Laura was one of our speakers, shifting that definition and helping women see that sales is not a bad word, right? And knowing your value and claiming your worth is actually something that is a great contribution to this world. And we get to change the definition and serve others in that way.
Yes, and with Spark and with Ignite, these are one day, sometimes weekend type of events. But you also have another program which really helps along the journey, let's call it, which is Boost, and what I like to call Boost Plus.
Yes.
So share with us a little bit about that.
So if you're catching the trend here, everything has to do with lights.
Yes.
So my daddy used to sing me a song called "You Light Up My Life" by Debbie Boone, and I guess he didn't realize, or maybe he did when I was born, that I am a very big light. And for many years, I think I thought that maybe it was too much or too big, and I realized actually now that my light is big for a purpose, right? And so everything I do has something to do with light, including Boost. Yes. So Boost is a community, it's a very intimate community of women business owners, and I take them on a 12-month journey. And again, last year, having pivoted like so many of us, I pivoted Boost and I restructured the program to take it fully virtual. And what we do in this program is we blend my two passions, which is the mindset, the inspiration, and the motivation, with the tools and the resources and the applications to bring those two together. Again, how can we have a business and a life that we love? How can we live out our purpose? How can we raise healthy families, do things for us, and accept love and support? And so really it's this intimate community of women where we get to talk about all of this, because I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm with some girlfriends and I want to talk business, and they don't, and they're like, "You're always talking about business." And I'm like, "But that's what I want to talk about."
Passionate.
And so, yes. And so in Boost, we get to do all that. We get to talk about boyfriends and, vent about boyfriends and husbands. We get to talk about, the teenagers that are driving us crazy. We get to share great wins in our business. We get to share great solutions that we've had, and really just take them on this journey of community and accountability.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that Luly just touched on is that 2020 and COVID, a lot of us see it as a detriment, and it has been for many, many reasons. But there's also been, that silver lining, which is Boost used to be all live in person. And going virtual has now allowed her to share her story and the solutions that she brings across the US and beyond. So I think that's been amazing.
Yeah, and it was a challenge, I'm not gonna lie, because for me, there's nothing like this, right? Like the exchange of human energy.
I know, right?
And for some of our members, actually, it was hard for them to make that shift. But now we have members in California and Montana and Georgia where we would have never been able to do that before. So there are definitely pros to that as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I've been dominating a lot of the conversation, so let me turn it over, Paola and
You guys
Menoria.
been doing a lot of sparking, igniting, boosting.
Yes.
Spark. Yes. I love the names you
Thank
have.
you.
I love your energy.
Thank you.
I wish, like, we all could have this
Yeah.
sensational, way of life to be. So when you talk about this organization, the women that are part of it, how do you recruit them? Are they from various background or different businesses, or how do you get them?
Yeah,
How
so
do you recruit them?
so much of my business comes from word of mouth referrals and recommendations. A lot of people either follow me on social media or they'll see me because I'm a speaker and a trainer. And again, I am just a woman of service. I never worry about how, when I meet people, I don't worry about what I'm going to get out of them. I don't strategize that. I just serve, and it all just really comes back, which is why I always say I'm a magnet for awesomeness. I really am. So the people just come. I have a wait list right now because I have a new cohort starting this summer. So there are people that are waiting now for the openings in June, July to start the next 12-month program and boost. And so that's what happens. And then there are people that are members that say to their friends, you have to join this. And there are women that are multi-million-dollar businesses, and there are women that are just starting. We have a few women that actually have full-time jobs and are starting their business on the side, and they're going very slowly, and we're supporting them in that process too. So it's really beautiful to see.
What do you put with Golden Sarge and Boost and Spark?
Right, so the Goldman,
do they work together or separate?
No,
You
it's
have this
separate. Yeah, so
Okay,
Goldman
okay.
Sachs is actually a beautiful program
Yes,
from
I've
the
heard
Goldman
of it.
Sachs 10,000
Yes.
Small Businesses
Yes,
program.
yes.
And there I get to do the sales and marketing module. I facilitate
Great.
the sales and marketing module.
I have a few friends that have participated in
Oh,
it.
really?
Yeah,
It's a great program.
Yes,
It's a
yes,
great program, which has been transformed into virtual. Yes.
I see.
So,
Thank you
yes.
so much.
Yes,
Thank you. I
thank
love
you.
the energy.
Thank you.
Lots of energy being going around this table,
Absolutely.
and we love it. So, Luly, you are currently managing 3 businesses: Boost, Spark, and Ignite.
So those are all services under my business, under Luly.
Oh, so
Yes,
those are all
yes.
services under
Yeah.
Luly. Your name is Luly, right?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
just making sure.
It is.
Because I am myself for a living.
I got you. I got you. Oh, what can I say? I'm inspired listening to your story. I'm actually reading about your story because Laura sent me your autobio. And it is so interesting that since Global Women Enrichment started, we are getting to learn so much about empowered women that are out there that otherwise you would not know about.
That's right.
Yes.
So continue to do what you're doing. And I know you have that special book there that we can.
Balance is BS.
Yes, but yes.
I made Mama very proud
You
when
made-
I wrote.
yes, okay.
She's like, you called it what?
Yes. Absolutely. So, Luly, if anybody in our audience would like to connect with you and learn more about you, where would they find you?
So connecting with awesome people is one of my favorite things to do. And I reply to all emails and all Instagram direct messages myself. I am the Luly B on Instagram, just like the Beyonce. So I am TheLuly, be like boy, on Instagram and on Facebook. And then my email is luly@lulyb.com. And my website is lulyb.com, so very easy to find me. And I do love to connect with people. If you have a question or a concern, or you want a connection, or you want 20 minutes to bounce ideas off of somebody, I love, love, love doing that.
Luly, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
This was awesome. This was so much fun.
So much fun.
Really was.
Love it. Continue to spark the world and ignite awesomeness out there.
Thank you.
So we will be coming back to you shortly with another special guest. So hang tight and we'll be right back. Welcome back. We have an amazing person with us today. I am so happy to be able to introduce you to Caroline de Posada. We know her as Caro, and she is an entrepreneur beyond entrepreneurs. And I say that because she actually started her journey very early in her life as an entrepreneur, helping her dad, and really just bursting onto the speaking scene. She is an attorney, and she has just taken the step in saying, you know what, I really want to shape my life around my family, who she calls her 5 fingers. And she said, there's so much more that I want to do in life and so much more that I want to give. And so she decided to also start her own company beyond being an attorney. And she came up with a couple of different programs which started off small and have just exploded. I mean, we talk about Luly B just being our guest before, and Gato has taken Luly's Spark and used it to create her own Spark. And tell us a little bit about CORE, because CORE is something that started off small and then just took off.
CORE is an acronym that I use for principles of personal development. Okay, so it's a very simple acronym. It's communication, organization, resilience, and emotional intelligence. And the idea behind those four words is that those are the essential skills throughout my life that I've realized always come into play when we are talking about reaching our goals, about achieving success. So I used that formula for a long time in my workshops and my keynote speeches, and I taught this to corporations and to businesses on how to achieve their goals. But something very interesting happened during COVID, and that is the speaking circuit just went blank. Yes. You know, we stopped traveling, we stopped speaking, and people were home. And what I found was that there were so many people binge eating, binge drinking, binge watching TV, just sedentary in their life. And I saw that there was a need for something for them to be inspired to move their bodies and to connect in a time where we were feeling really disconnected. So I put out a challenge for women to plank. Does anybody know what planking is?
Yes.
Yeah, I found this plank challenge, and it was a 30-day challenge. It was online, and I thought, I'm going to try this every day to see if maybe during COVID I can develop some abs. Something I don't have currently, so don't have it, even though I did the plank challenge. But I said I'm gonna do this plank challenge, and I invited people on social media and my friends and people in my newsletter if they wanted to join me, and 50 women wanted to do this plank. I thought, that's a very interesting thing. You know, how many people want to plank? But when I got them into the community and we started discussing and holding each other accountable for the planking, what we realized was planking was the last thing that they needed. What they needed was inspiration. What they needed was community. What they needed was an environment of having somebody to answer to, so that you wake up and go to the gym in the morning, or exercise, or eat well, or make a better choice that day. And what they needed was CORE. Right. So that little silly challenge that we did in a playful way to inspire people to do something other than drink and watch TV and overeat during COVID turned into my CORE challenges, which is our business now. Right. And what we realized was that these women all want to have health and wellness in their life. They all want to make time for self-care. They all want to exercise. They all want to eat healthy. They all want to meditate. But they have such a difficult time finding the space to do it. And they are inconsistent, and they don't understand why. And they think it's because they have no willpower. They think it's because they're lazy, because they're not good enough, because they're failures, because they don't have willpower. But really all that what they don't have is just the environment that's conducive to creating the space for that kind of behavior.
And I think that with CORE, what you've developed is that environment. Really, it's a community. Mm-hmm. Because I've watched CORE go from your initial plank challenge to really just explode and become all about this community, where there's T-shirts now being printed because people are so proud to be part of CORE. They want to share it with the world. And you know, I think one of the things that most impresses me about you is that you are so in tune with what the people you interact with need. And the other thing that really impresses me about you is that you've created this community that allows women a sense of an environment for accountability, but you also hold yourself accountable.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it would be wonderful for you to share with our audience, you know, what you did towards the end of last year, where you were on a completely different time zone for a couple of months. and still manage to keep core together and keep it going and hold yourself accountable for this wonderful community that you've created?
So I'm assuming you're talking about South Korea.
I am talking about South Korea.
So I was taken. It was an adventure that was taken to me. I was taken on by my 12-year-old son. My little boy is an actor, and he landed a job, his first TV series in Korea. And what's interesting about that is that when he auditioned to be with this talent agency, and the talent agency was in New York, and they were concerned that he lived in Miami because there's a lot of business opportunities in New York. And when he did his audition tape, he said to the tape, "Hi, my name is Orlando Rodriguez, and I live in Miami, Florida. But don't worry about me living in Miami because my parents are very flexible and they'll allow me to travel." And then he got his first job, and my husband said, "Orly, when we said you could travel, we meant Orlando,
Right.
you know? We didn't mean South Korea."
Right.
But South Korea is what happened, and we were taken there. I went with my son for 2 months. We had to quarantine for 2 weeks in Korea, and then we spent the remaining time filming for a TV series over there, it's very exciting, and it was a great opportunity. And while I was there, because of virtual, because of technology, despite the time change, despite the change in location, I was able to manage the communities, which was an exciting thing that we were able to communicate. And I would meet our Zoom calls. It would be morning for me and night for them, and it somehow worked. And I was able to exercise every day from my hotel room and make the best choices I could and share the journey with my core sisters.
Yeah, and I think that's so amazing because it just goes to show that it doesn't matter what your environment is. If you're quarantined in a hotel room or you're quarantined at home, as long as you truly want to live a healthy life and implement that, you can anywhere you are.
Absolutely. Well, and it's funny because a lot of times the excuses that we make for ourselves when it comes to exercise or eating well is, well, I don't have time, or I can't work out at home, or I don't like doing videos, or I don't have the motivation to do it. But when you have that accountability factor, when you have people that you know are depending on you, you find a way. Because we have this, we have a need, humans have a need to belong in our society, in our communities. We have a need to feel that our decisions have a positive impact on other people. Mm-hmm. So if you know that it's not just you are going to do the push-ups in your bedroom, but that by you doing the push-ups, you're going to help your friend also get the inspiration to do push-ups, you're more motivated to do it.
Absolutely.
So when I was in quarantine, I found myself doing 100 jumping jacks on the balcony or 10 push-ups. And part of what drove me was that I wanted to be an example for the women that I knew were relying on me to be that example. And they are examples for each other. And have you guys ever heard of the blue zones? The blue zones of... So there's a great research project, and it's called the Blue Zones Project, and they have studied longevity. They've gone all over the world to see who are the people that live the longest, and they've studied these different countries and different societies and civilizations, trying to figure out what are the keys that make people live the longest, the healthiest, the happiest. And one of the key factors that they found is, despite the differences in diet, despite the differences in anaerobic activity, despite the differences in culture, what really makes a significant impact in their wellness is the environment they're in. So when they are in a positive environment, they thrive. When they feel connected, they thrive. And that goes for health, and it goes for wealth, and it goes for success, and for everything. So my idea is to have a space where no matter what you see on social media, no matter what you see in the news, no matter how much uproar there is in political environment or community or what rat race you belong to, that there's always, you can go back to the well. There's a safe space that when you go there, you know that you're going there, you're bonded not by motherhood or by age or status or religious preference or sexual preference. You're bonded only by your desire to be a better version of yourself.
And I think that's what really attracts all the women that are part of CORE, right? They want to be a better version of themselves. And you have now another solution that you're sharing with them, which is RejuvaFast.
Yes.
So share a little bit of that with us.
Well, that was a fluke.
Really?
Yeah, which is kind of like the plank challenge. It's funny. It's interesting when you open yourself to intuition and you open yourself you allow yourself to be guided. It's incredible how the path gets laid for you. So I had been doing surveys in my core groups, and I was asking in the surveys, what other challenges would you be interested in doing? Because people would finish the 28-day challenge and they'd say, oh, we've got to do another challenge, So I got ideas. The dry challenge. People want to go dry for 30 days, no alcohol. Or the sleep challenge. People want to be challenged to get 8 hours of sleep every day. The water challenge. And then they came up with the fast challenge. Everybody wanted, and that was the number one of all the surveys that I did.
That's amazing.
Everybody said, I want to learn how to fast. I want to learn how to fast. So one day I'm talking to the general practitioner, whom I love, is not only my doctor, but a good friend. And he says to me, I'm just getting off a 5-day fast. I said, what do you mean? He says, yeah, I've been fasting for 5 days. So he starts telling me all these benefits of fasting and why it matters and what it does for your cells and for your body and all these other things. And I said to him, well, the women in my group are dying for this. We've got to host this for them. So we created a 5-day fast for these women, and he partnered up with me, and we do it together. So we have, I say that it's where science meets personal development, because we have the expert of health and longevity and anti-aging that's giving all the information about food and the benefits of fasting. And then we have me, who just, inspires you, holds you accountable, roots you on, and gives you the tools to be able to actually complete the fast that the expert says is so good for you.
Right. Well, and I think it's so important that you have an expert that's really guiding this, right? To make sure that it truly is health. And, one other key thing I wanted to share with our audience is your book, Looking Over the Edge. She is an author of a book called Looking Over the Edge. It was launched just pre-pandemic. And I think it's an amazing read because it truly talks about her 5 fingers, which is her 3 sons, her husband, and Caro. And it talks about, for me, the key takeaways were you have to allow for spontaneity in life. And you really need to be able to say, my life can't be so rigid all of the time. You also need to look at collaboration, right? Which is something that she lives every single day, and resilience. Resilience to really be able to look at what you're doing and say, what, I can get beyond this and I can bounce back. So whether it's from health, whether it's from what happens in her book, or anything else. So I just want to open it up because I know that we've been doing a lot of talking. Any questions, Paola?
You cover so much by telling us. But how do you still practice law?
I don't.
No?
I don't practice law anymore.
So where are you taking core from when you started to, let's say, in a few years from now?
Oh, well.
Is it a spontaneous?
It is. It's growing on its own.
Yes.
It is growing on its own. So core has a life of its own, and it is becoming what it's becoming. And I am open to the journey. So I learned from a friend of mine a long time ago, and he said, we don't know all the answers, but we can enjoy the mystery. And to me, that's what this life is about. I did practice law for 15 years, and I stopped practicing law when my father passed away. My father dedicated his life to motivational speaking, to personal development, and he left an incredible legacy. And when he died, I didn't want that legacy to die with him. So I stopped practicing law, and I dedicated myself to continuing the message and continuing the work. And that's my purpose.
Wow, your father would be so proud.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Can you tell your listeners again, if they are like me? I know CORE is communication, organization, resilience, and
emotional intelligence. Which my dad would say is the highest intelligence over all the intelligences.
So what is next? What is next on the agenda for Caroline?
Well, so we have our next Rejuva Fast challenge starting in April. So we have a 5-day fast starting in April, and then in May we open up core again for the girls. We do the challenges. We're doing the challenges 4 times this year, so once a quarter. And once you do the challenge, then you go into the membership community, and that's where we're at.
So if they wanted to find let me say that all over again. If they wanted to find out more about this, how do they connect with you?
Oh, so they can find me on Instagram or my website, and it's all uniform, Caroline de Posada. So carolinedeposada.com, at Caroline de Posada on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn. And
how do you spell de Posada?
D as in dog, E as in Edward, P as in party, O, S as in Sam, A, D as in dog, A.
Perfect. Well, thank you for joining us for the month of March. Such a powerful, powerful month where we really honor and respect women. You have really been with us for some amazing women. We've heard anything from women entrepreneurs, women that have gone through domestic abuse and how they've had the resilience to overcome that and really share their story with us. Women that have spoken to us about helping immigrants, women that have spoken to us about really forming, like the Black Collective, for example, to really drive the passions that you have forward. So we hope you've enjoyed our Women's Month with us, and we look forward to seeing you in April. Thank you. See you again soon.